Hi, my name is Ashley Williams, and this is The Legend of the Bluebonnet, a Comanche legend. Many years ago, a people called Comanche lived here in Texas. They relied on the land for everything. Their food, water, and shelter all came from the land. One year, though, the land was unkind to the Comanche people. In the spring, great rains fell that flooded the earth. In the summer, a heat came that dried up most of the water, and in the fall a wind blew through the land and blew away most of what was left. In the winter, everything froze over. In spring, the Comanche people hoped that things would be better, but instead a drought came and dried up most of the water that was left. The plants and animals the Comanche people needed to survive began to die. Even worse, a sickness swept through the tribe and left many tribe members without their families. The people cried out to the Great Spirits, asking what they could do to make things better. For 3 days they did their rain dance, but nothing happened. One of the oldest tribe members, a medicine man, decided he would go on a vision quest, where he would sit and wait for the Great Spirits to tell him what they should do. As he headed up to the sacred hill, the Comanche people waited anxiously to hear what he would say. One young girl had lost both of her parents during the sickness that had taken many of the tribe members from their families. They called her She Who Is Alone. The little girl, as her only possession, had a beautiful doll made of buckskin, with beaded clothing and black horse's hair, and 2 bright blue feathers from the bird they called JJ. She loved this doll more than anything. It was her only possession and her very best friend. She Who Was Alone waited for 2 days for the medicine man to return. Clutching her doll close to her, she thought about her parents and grandparents, wishing that they were there with her. She prayed that the medicine man would return with news that would help her people. When he finally returned, though, the news was not good. The Great Spirits say that we've been selfish. We live off the land, but we do not take care of the land in return. In order to show that we are not selfish, we must sacrifice our most prized possessions. We will burn them in a great fire and scatter the ashes from the north, south, east, and west. Then the rains will return. The tribe anxiously whispered amongst themselves about this news. One member said, "Well, I know that the Great Spirits don't want my new bow and arrow." Another said, "I have a great white buckskin, but I know that's not what they want either." They began to argue among themselves, nobody wanting to give up their most prized possessions. Finally, everyone returned to their teepees to go to sleep for the night. She Who Was Alone laid awake, stroking her doll's beautiful black hair. She thought about her people and how much she loved them, and she knew what she had to do. Opening the flap of her teepee, she went to the great communal fire and lit a torch and headed towards the sacred hill. Once there, she began to gather some twigs to make a small campfire. Looking at her doll, a tear began to roll down her cheek. "You are my most prized possession," she said. "I love you, but I must sacrifice you for my people. If I sacrifice you, the Great Spirits will know that we are truly sorry." Hugging her doll tightly to her chest and kissing it, she asked the Great Spirits to accept her sacrifice. Before she could change her mind, she dropped her beautiful doll into the fire. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she watched the fire die down to just ashes. She took the ashes and spread them to the north, to the south, to the east, and to the west. Exhausted from all she had gone through, she lay down on top of the sacred hill and went to sleep. As the sun rose in the morning, she felt heat on her cheeks and opened her eyes. When she opened them and looked around, she was amazed at what she saw. Everywhere the ashes of her doll had fallen, there was a beautiful blue flower the color of the bird JJ. Below the hill, the people started to wake up and exit their teepees. Looking up towards the sacred hill, they saw She Who Was Alone sitting among the beautiful blue flowers. When they saw this, they knew that the great spirits had forgiven them because of her sacrifice. They started to do a dance of praise and thank the great spirits, and just then rain began to fall from the sky. She who was alone walked down the hill to her people, and from then on she was known as she who truly loved her people. Even now, here in Texas, you can see the beautiful blue flower, the color of the bird JJ, as a reminder of the sacrifice that she who was alone made for her people. We call it the bluebonnet.